Good morning, boys and girls. Happy Friday. Mrs. Metcalf here. I'm going to be reading you a story today for our read aloud. It's called Like 100 Drums. So this story has to do with weather. So I'm not going to tell you what it's all about. You're going to have to try to predict. So I'm going to start reading it. It started quietly with a flutter of leaves on the old oak tree. They did not notice it as they napped on the porch, as they raced through the dust. As they played in the shade, no one noticed, but it was coming. The leaves fluttered again, harder this time, and the ends of the branches shook. The wren lifted her head, the crow flapped his wings. They felt something, then something swift and sweet. A breath of wind touched their feathers, and for an instant, the air was not so heavy or so thick. It was coming. Oh, yes, it was coming. The sky just along the edge changed from a hazy blue to a soft shade of purple. The cow swished her tail. The pig flicked his ears. Both turned to look as the purple spread across the blue like a curtain. It was coming. They knew it was coming. So take notice, so far, the sky is changing. In the air, the smell of the dust suddenly mixed with a new smell, one that was clean, wild and clean. The cat twitched her whiskers, the dog sniffed his nose. They breathed deeply and let the wild smell flow through them. Their eyes brightened and their tails flicked this way and that. Now wild, too. It was coming. They could tell it was coming. So now we're having a change in the air, and it has a smell to it. In the purple sky, clouds gathered, only a few at first, then more and more until there was a thick, dark crowd. The squirrel froze on his tree. The mouse stood still in the grass. They both watched as the army of clouds marched across the sky, swift and sure. The clouds covered the sun, and the day went dark and cool. It was coming. Oh, yes, it was coming. The breeze suddenly became a wind, blowing with gusts that flattened the grass and pulled at hair. The trees whipped this way and that, as if afraid. On the porch, Grandmother stirred and opened her eyes. In the yard, the playing children looked up. They all paused as they felt the strength of the wind, as it tugged at their sleeves and stung their eyes. It was coming. It was coming, and it was very close now. I bet you're making a prediction already. Getting a little breeze there. The sky is changing. There's a different smell in the air. A single drop of rain hit the dust and lay there in a tiny puddle. The wind died down, and for a moment everything was still. And all who were watching knew it was here. A single bolt of lightning streaked through the sky, cutting the air like a knife. Crack! See a lightning bolt in the sky? Thunder boomed with 100 drums, and the sound rolled across the ground like a wave. Boom! Did you guys predict I was going to tell you about a thunderstorm? The wren and the crow darted for safety in the branches of the old oak tree. The cow and the pig bolted for the shelter of the barn. The cat and the dog raced together for the shed, where it was quiet and dark. The squirrel and the mouse scampered towards holes where it was darker still. So notice now we're getting a reaction from the animals, how they feel about the thunderstorm coming. The children ran toward their grandmother on the porch and huddled close. Lightning cracked the sky with silver streaks. Thunder rolled and boomed, filling the flat land with its echoes. The wind wailed and howled, causing trees to bow down and the grass to ripple like the sea. The rain fell in a solid sheet, one that darkened the dust and turned into mud. The air was wet and wild and full of sound. It was here. It was here. It was here. Then, as swiftly as it had come, it was gone. All that was left of its passing was a distant thrum of thunder, soft like a whisper on the breeze. The children still huddled around their grandmother, slowly let go. They stood tall and blinked at the newness of their yard, at how quickly it had changed. Almost as one, they smiled. It ended quietly with a last rumble in the air. They did not notice it as it danced in the mud. As they skipped through the puddles, as they smiled at the green of the grass, the thunderstorm was gone. Somewhere, though, deep in the hearts of the crow and the dog and the mouse, and deep in the minds of the playing children, the wonder of the storm remained. For everyone knew it would come again. So boys and girls, I hope you liked that story. This was a story about thunderstorms, and it gave some examples of what was happening as the storm was coming in. So maybe if you can think of some of those examples, I'll give you one hint. We know that the sky changed, and also we noticed the reaction from some of the animals and from the children. So if some people love thunderstorms, they think they're fun and they're great. Other people might be afraid of them. So why don't you tell me how you feel about thunderstorms? Because we've already had some now that summer's getting here, and we'll probably have a lot more. So I love you. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you real soon. Mwah.